r/ask Reddit. Men of Reddit, what creepy things have women done to you? Years and years back I worked in a call center and was friends with this girl. Didn't think anything of it until she propositioned me to have sex with her. While I was flattered I told her I was dating someone else and I was not going to cheat. Forward to a few days later I go into work and get pulled.
CPS workers of Reddit, what was the worst case you have seen? One of my uncles was a CPS worker for a good amount of time before he just couldn't do it anymore, and I can remember two cases that he brought up while at a get-together. First, mom was sending her 6 to 8-year-old daughter over the border to Mexico on a bus, where she would be picked up by pedophiles who would keep her for a few hours before sending her back with payment. Second, dad was raping his 16-year-old son to the point that he had developed a defense mechanism that involved crapping on himself to keep his dad away. He ended up having to wear adult diapers after. Medical professionals of Reddit. When did you have to tell a patient I've seen it all before to comfort them, but really you had never seen something so bad or of that nature? Probably too late to the party, but I had a lady come into the ER listed as multiple medical problems. This usually means diabetes and the issues stemming from it, or maybe bleeding issues from another disease, or maybe on blood tests results at a clinic. I hadn't seen the patient yet, but the doctor came to the nurse's station asking who had room 15. I jumped up and followed him into the room. I walked in and saw what I thought was a corpse. Then the patient's eye swiveled over to look at me. She truly looked like one of the people they found in a concentration camp. I could see every bone, and her body was twisted in a decorticate position with her jaw locked open. Then the smell hit me. Rotting flesh, death, and body fluids. I struggled to keep a neutral face and not gag. I tried to place a blood pressure cuff on her arm and her skin just started flaking off in my hands. I gagged. The doctor started removing her clothes to examine her. Her feet were black to the ankles. Her hip bones were poking through her skin and were black. The skin around her ribs was worn away to oozing muscle fibers. Her calves were incredibly swollen and the skin was splitting like ripped pants. There was feces coating her entire genital area. Then the doctor went to remove a large bandage on her lower back. Her entire sacrum was exposed and the bones were black. The skin around it was a black liquefied mass. It smelled like nothing I've ever smelled. I can't even describe it. The doctor told her family I would clean up her ulcers and wounds in preparation for surgery. Liar, no surgeon would operate on her. I had no idea how to clean dead bone tissue and liquefied skin. They don't cover that in nursing school. When I went to clean her sacral area, all the liquefied skin separated and oozed all over the bed. I really struggled to keep my crap together. Afterwards, I needed a moment in the supply closet to cry it out for a second. I had no idea the human body could break down so much without dying. I still think about that woman sometimes and what led to her living like that. It still breaks my heart. In dental school I had an emergency patient come in, complaining of sore gums. Upon examination I found a massive calculus bridge, Google it for pictures, behind her lower front teeth. She only had about 3 remaining lower teeth, but they were all connected with a whitish brown metal with lots of metals around the sides of the mouth. She had never had her teeth cleaned and she was probably 55 or so. I basically performed an emergency cleaning. She could speak so much better afterwards. Of course I had to play it off like it was normal, but in my years of practice I still haven't seen a case that bad again. Get your teeth cleaned, people. Even if you can't afford, every 6 months, once a year, or every other year is a hell of a lot better than never. A dog bit my little sister in the face, ripping through her mouth and cheek. It was at a soccer game. She crawled on top of a big dog called a borzoi, which startled it. It rolled over and bit her in the face. This was the late 80s, smaller town. There were no pediatric surgeons available, no plastic surgeons. She was in the ER with her face ripped open. Anyways, our general pediatrician, who is now my kid's pediatrician 30 years later, who had only graduated maybe 10 years prior, sewed her face back together. It was 30 stitches on the inside of her mouth and 30 or so on the outside. She had a massive 15 years. She grew normally. Her face is fine. Her smile is fine. No long-term damage. Apparently, a face is full of nerves and muscles, and that's why only plastic surgeons work on faces. Particularly